Today is Wednesday, November 1st, 2017. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is our recap of Survivor Season 35, Episode 6.
This episode was titled, This Is Why You Play Survivor, and that was said by Joe. Previously on Survivor, over on the Blue Tribe, also called Levu, it's 2 against 2. Over on the Red Tribe, I'm trying to see if I wrote that anywhere, I don't see it. Cole couldn't hide his hunger. And over on the Yellow Tribe, Ryan was between a hero and a hustler. He decided to side with Chrissy, and as Probst said, not me, because I was cheering for Allie, Probst said that Ryan betrayed Allie. Betrayed. A betrayal. Okay, it's Soko, night 14. They're going to have it out just like we saw in last week's Next Time on Survivor. Allie and Ryan have a polite civil discussion. Everyone is calm. Not really.
No.
Yeah.
She was like, what do you want to do, Ryan? I kept saying, what do you want to do, Ryan? What do you want to do, Ryan? Why didn't you tell me?
She's busting his chops right out of the gate when they get back.
Yeah, and I would have thought they would have gone off to argue or something, but they just did it right there in camp.
She was very emotional. Mm-hmm. And he escalated. He matched her level for level, it seemed like. So in my notes, I wrote that they go at it.
Well, I thought that his point being that you were too close to Rourke. I wasn't sure of her. I trust you, but I didn't trust her, and you were just too close.
How did you think of that as a cover story?
I thought that was fine.
Yeah, you thought that was reasonable?
I thought she could buy that.
That would work for his supposedly most trusted ally?
Well, I don't think she'll ever completely trust him.
No, she was supposed to be his most trusted ally.
I don't believe that.
From the beginning.
She might have thought that. I don't believe that at all. And I don't think Ryan considers her his most trusted ally. I think he thinks
Well, he had made
Devon
a choice
is.
to betray her, as Probst said, so yeah.
I know, but you keep saying she's his most trusted. I don't think he's ever seen her that way.
Gotcha, okay.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
And she's right. He didn't trust her. But I think he
it seemed like
pushed it off
there was cause for that, though. I think his instincts were probably right.
I think
given
so,
the little
too.
bit that they showed us about how Allie was angling to use Rourke to get her way into a majority at the merge.
And she even said, well, she'd bring Ryan along, but we should have a strong tribe, and he's not. But he's very strategic. So I don't think she'd hesitate to turn on him.
You think there might have been a clue back in that interview with Rourke? Rourke told us that Allie was so kind of obsessed with figuring out what he really did, and because he would never tell her, then she didn't fully trust him, maybe.
I don't think she ever really did.
That's why she was ready to jump to Rourke and her majority alliance at a merge if that were to present itself.
Yeah, because she made a point of saying, I don't know why she couldn't just let it go. We know who he is. We know he's smart.
That's probably why it escalated and got emotional, because they were both actively working to deceive the other.
Yeah.
And sometimes you overcompensate with anger in those emotional scenarios.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't necessarily blame her for that, but because that's how you feel, and I'm sure she did feel very betrayed, because she was.
Well, she had it back together. Even I guess having the crying all helped, because she was like, "Okay, I got it. Now I'm never going to trust him again. Never going to put him in that position."
She didn't have another option unless she just gave up.
Well, she had other options at this point here on night 13 for sure, because they're still there. She doesn't know if they're going to win their way to the merge or not.
Night 14 after the trial.
Yeah, night 14. Sorry.
But no, I don't think she had other options.
She still had options at this point. Is what I'm saying, hon.
After the vote?
No. At this point in the episode, she has options.
Okay.
She doesn't know where the game's going to lead her. And they could win and not go to tribal council. So
Oh, I see what
it's
you're
too
saying.
temporally confusing. Never mind.
Yes, it was confusing.
Ryan tells us that was a bad look for Allie, her getting upset with him, and that she may have to go.
Because he can't have enemies. And he's right. If you can't trust her 100% to stay with you, then you're the next target.
All right, I'm interested to hear your thoughts because we didn't talk about it a whole lot. We watched the episode and then I set up and get ready to record, and you go get stats and all that. So
Well,
we go over to Yawa. Oh, did you want to say something else about this?
I was good. My thought at that time was, oh, that probably means Allie's not going home.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was right at the beginning of the show, and I had Allie
It's a teaser
to
to make you think.
So I thought.
So
we did kind of mention that, and I was like, oh, that probably means she's not going.
Right. Yeah. We'll have quick discussions in the commercial breaks or whatever. And,
Yes.
or take a pause and have a discussion. Okay, so we go over to Yawa, the red tribe, the new red tribe on day 15, and Dr. Mike has caught a fish, and he is very proud of himself. He, too, is a provider
Almost
for
a
his
tadpole.
tribe. It was, or you mean a minnow?
Oh, whatever. Yeah, minnow.
You kind of jumped species there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You know what I mean?
It was a small fish. And what did you think about what Jessica said to him?
I don't remember what Jessica
Does that make you feel like a man?
Oh. I think that was typical for Jessica.
That seemed
Make
a
you
little...
feel manly, to catch a fish.
Yeah,
it could
so-
be considered a put down.
Yeah, I
but
think it was.
I don't think she necessarily meant it that way. It's just that they all know
Yeah.
that's not really Mike's thing. He's not an outdoorsy person.
Right, he's not proficient at it.
But yeah, it
But
was
her
kind
choosing
of,
to do that, and then how she said it, and her posture and
you
her
would
gestures.
think she would know better, but her and Cole are a pretty good pair sometimes.
Well, I don't think of her thinking anymore. So she's proven
Well, there
more
you
than
go.
once that she is not a great thinker as it pertains to the game of Survivor
Well,
and
I
even
think
her social
you
game.
Just answered yourself.
No, I was asking the question because I thought she was doing that on purpose. I think that was a little bit of an emasculating comment for her to say. And then Ben chimes in, and Ben's poking fun at him too. And unfortunately for Dr. Mike, the worst thing possible happens. His tiny fish falls off of the stick into the fire. And they're both trying to tell him, just let it go, Mike. Let it go. It's not worth it. And he's like, no, that's still edible.
No,
it's the
too
fish
good.
I've
I'm gonna
provided
get-
for you to eat. And he rescues it from the ashes of the fire. And Ben even has a bite. And that's when Ben tells us, well, you know what? At least Dr. Mike shares. He didn't provide a lot, but he shares. And Cole's caught fish a couple times
Good sized fish and ate
eat them all
himself.
by himself. And that's a big difference between Cole and Dr. Mike, he tells us.
Well, and that tells us a lot about Cole right there too. 'cause
Yeah, I think that's got him completely on even par with Taylor. Now, Taylor stole food and hid it, right? But Cole is openly preparing food and eating it by himself in front of them, going out and catching it and
Well,
eating
not
it,
only
sharing.
that, then when he's talking and arguing with Lauren about, eating the food that they have,
Fixing some rice, yeah.
I mean, he flat out tells them, I should have bigger portions than you guys. I'm like, who does that, Cole? You obviously are not a fan of this game if you...
We know that, yeah. He's got no aptitude for the game
No.
other than the challenges, which he tells us they would not win without him. So he's selfish and arrogant, although there's probably a thread of truth in that for sure.
No, I don't think so. I think they could win without him.
I said a thread. I didn't say that it was
Small
conclusive. Okay. Yeah, I absolutely believe.
Not
I mean,
that he's
try to
not
put
good, he
try to
is.
put Cole in a puzzle, have him finish something.
Yeah.
So many times it comes down to everybody even in the challenges. So
Right.
his physicality isn't necessarily that big of an advantage.
Yeah. Especially after the merge, I think. But
Certainly Lauren's she's focusing on that. I think she's got Ben solid on point, talking about how Jessica and Cole are a power couple. And she tells us that they've been working on Dr. Mike and that she's happy to see Cole dig his own grave when it comes to this.
well, what do you think about what Lauren said about Jessica's not going to live in a car with
I
Cole,
thought that was a good line.
and
She
Cole's
said a
not
van.
going to leave the car.
Yeah, van. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So So he likes living in his van. And, I can't see Jessica doing that.
No, absolutely not. Could be wrong. I mean, she could still surprise us. She could give up her career to go live in the van with Cole.
I don't think so.
There's a certain part of me that wouldn't be surprised to hear Jessica do that. For love, of course. Mm-hmm. There's no accounting for love. I'm sure she would assure us.
Okay.
At this point, with her deep wisdom about life.
And here we go to a commercial break, and you and I are going, okay, they didn't show the Blue Tribe at all yet. What does that mean? What does that tell us? Does it mean something?
And you checked your notes, and you said, hey, last week, same pattern, and the ones that didn't get shown?
Yeah, Soho.
They went to tribal.
Or Soko, what is it?
Soko.
And they're the
Yellow
ones
tribe.
that went to tribal council. So we're wondering, was it Blue that's going to tribal council?
Yeah, does that mean?
We do silly little things like
Yes,
that.
yeah.
And we said, they're going to come back to the reward challenge, just like last week.
Mm-hmm.
But,
And indeed they did.
Didn't pan out, though, as far as...
Well, they did come back
The
to the award
ultimate.
challenge. What did you think about
That's
the
true.
award this week?
Pizza.
I had pizza today.
You did,
Yeah.
yes.
Had some pizza and wings.
Can't forget the wings.
Yeah.
Stacy's going to turn
wings.
into a wing.
Yeah.
He's been eating so many hot wings.
That's not true.
Just going to start calling you Wing.
Okay.
That's been your main staple for
Yeah.
a week now.
I eat other things.
Occasionally.
I had Brussels sprouts.
I know, because
onions.
I cook them.
Yeah, well, you cook most of the food. Although you don't cook wings normally.
I do,
No, I said normally.
but I don't put hot sauce on them like you like, because I don't like that hot.
So 10 pizzas. Let's get back on track.
Oh, you ate 10 pizzas?
No, that was what
okay.
the first tribe to
know.
finish gets, 10 pizzas. They didn't make any point of talking, and they had soda, some big bottles of soda for them.
Okay, you know what? I'm upset with them because they didn't show how much of that pizza Cole ate. I'm jumping ahead, yes. But I wanted to see how much. He said, this will be mine. Y'all can share the rest.
Well, that was your theory. Okay, now let's get back to the award challenge.
Okay.
So there's 10 pizzas, and it looked like an array of spices and some different sauces and stuff too that were down there that they weren't talked about. There's a bucket of soda, and we see later.
They just said soda and pizza.
Yeah, but there was a bucket of soda that was sitting to the right of the 10 pizza boxes that were there. And then second place gets to share a single pizza. But down in front of the pizza boxes was a tray full of spices, and then there were some sauces there too in bottles. You didn't see any of that?
No.
Okay. Anyway, point being that there was more than one thing. Okay, so what about the challenge? Did you like it? You think it was a good one?
Yeah.
You've got to go through the obstacles. Two of them have to work together with some sticks and use that to support a buoy, to balance a buoy or a buoy.
Well, everybody found that pretty easy except for Desi and Ashley. They're the only
They
ones
really
had to go
struggled
back.
with it. Yeah, so you have to run through a little foot obstacle course. It's kind of
That's how
like
they showed it.
a wood ladder. You got to high step through, and then you got to carry the buoy over like a teeter-totter, and then get it to a rug that they had set out, and then the other two members of the tribe can come
Run through
across.
the obstacle course.
Right. And then they have to untie a boat and then pull themselves out in the boat to a platform where they've got a big slingshot and a monkey fist, and then they get to use the slingshot to knock down two different paddle targets that are out there.
And we find out it really is easier to pull the boat out if you untie it first.
Right. So Dr. Mike ends up sitting out for Soko, Yellow Tribe. For Yawa, the Red Tribe. I wrote that down wrong. Okay.
Soko wins.
Yeah, JP and Allie, they make it through. Desi and Ashley, like you said, they struggled with the buoy, and that was the only that tribe they sent the two women through first with that part, right? Instead of having Devon and Joe do it. And they struggled. It took them 4 times to get across with the buoy.
Okay.
Yeah, JP and Allie made it across their first time. Ben and Cole had to take 2 runs at it, but they got it across.
At least that's how it was shown.
And neck and neck for those two to get out there. And it ends up actually being really close when they're out at the big slingshot launching the monkey fist that's got a rope still tied to
Yeah,
it.
it was kind of neck and neck. Anybody could have won at that point.
And then the ocean becomes a factor as they get big swells
yeah.
that are coming in. And JP's smart. He's got one of the two paddles he's knocked down, and he waits it until the waves calm down, which is a little risky.
That distracted me, though. I kept thinking, oh, I'd be so nauseous.
In those little waves, yeah.
Got caught up in
Maybe.
Oh,
yeah.
no. Well,
They were
I would be.
struggling a little bit just to keep the boats near the platforms there in case they needed to swap somebody out.
I get
But yeah,
nauseous snorkeling.
JP did a fantastic job, and they end up winning, right? So Yellow, the Soko tribe, wins, and then Ben gets the second one for Yawa, so they get to share a single pizza.
And JP tells us he doesn't like to be in the limelight that much, but, he really needed them to see they could not get through any challenge without
Much
him.
like what Cole was saying, yeah.
So we thought, uh-oh, here we go. They're pointing it at JP.
Which was all good because you've got this perspective now where every tribe's got someone who could potentially go. There's no overtness in the edit. I thought the edit was really balanced for this episode well.
Well, and you and I are
wasn't
so
overshadowing.
gullible. We start going, oh no, and we talked about that, and JP getting voted out, and we didn't put him, and blah, blah, blah.
So, yeah, who did you choose to go? Who did you have go?
Allie.
And I had Chrissy. So we were both thinking the Soho tribe was going to lose. But, yeah, having JP give his speech gave us pause for thought. It's like, wow, darn it, we had both talked about that and both found reasons to go the other way. Yeah.
Well, and because we did that last week, we had said, oh yeah, and Rourke could go, blah, 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 and then neither one of us followed through with that either. So we're like, oh no, it's going to repeat itself this week.
Okay, so after the challenge, we're back over at the Yellow Tribe, and they're enjoying eating their whole pizzas, Chrissy tells us, as she's got pizza all over her nice big pearly white teeth.
Salami on
Nobody
pizza.
told her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they had a lot of different ones to choose from.
Yeah, salami though. Not a big salami.
Ryan tells us in a confessional after they're all shown chowing down on pizza, and he's sitting there with a big 32-ounce or a 2-liter bottle of soda that he's been chugging on. Ryan tells us that JP is a 10 in these challenges, and he knows they're going to merge soon, which is basically the echo of the conversation we had.
Yep.
And at the end of the listener feedback show where we're trying to figure out who's going to go. They're going to merge soon, and JP never talked strategy with Ryan, so that makes him a bit nervous.
Yep. JP's a big physical threat, and Ryan's already thinking about it, which is good on him.
What did you think about Ryan when he was making fun of JP? JP was telling him what his favorite first date was, about how he likes to do a bonfire down on the beach. He likes to get a big tri-tip salad for him and his date to share, and they go down and sit on the beach and make a fire and eat that tri-tip salad.
Ryan's never had a girlfriend.
Exactly.
He can't relate.
He's telling us JP's got no social game and all that. But Ryan he seemed to be, from the way I understood the interaction, Ryan was making fun of and trying to bait JP about his choice for a first date, this bonfire and the salad. Allie seemed a little iffy on her assessment of she didn't quite understand the tri-tip salad, like maybe that wasn't the best choice for his date or something like that. But it appeared to me that Ryan was trying to make fun of JP. He was at his expense. He was poking fun of his choice, which I thought exactly what you said. Ryan, you don't even go on dates, so why are you making fun of what JP's choice is? He's probably had more dates at this point in his life than you'll have in your whole life.
I thought what he was making fun of is that's what JP chose to talk about instead of strategizing. That's what he chose.
That's the editor showing us that. I don't think that was what Ryan was necessarily doing.
Okay. Well, I'll have to go back and look because I didn't view it that way.
Okay, cool. All right, Levu, day 15. Devon and Ashley, they're ready to go to Rocks. And their big question is, will Desi flip?
So Devon and Joe go off looking for food. Mm-hmm. And Joe tells us he knows Devon's just keeping an eye on him.
Right.
So that they think they're going to keep Joe from finding another idol, and that they're keeping a close watch on him. And hopefully they're looking too while they're at it.
And in case you weren't completely clear that Joe's our villain or bad guy, they show us clips of bats and spiders in her cut with whatever Joe and Devon are doing, whether it's gathering firewood or hermit crabs or, yeah.
And while the guys are doing that, the girls are back at camp, and Ashley's working Desi to find out if she'd be willing to turn on Joe.
Desi surprised me. She said yes.
Yeah, we weren't sure she would do that, but she
At least
said,
if she would own up to it at this point, yeah.
She thinks Joe's the most strategic player and out there, and he would keep her close right this minute, but she doesn't trust him, obviously, for the long run.
Right.
So, and I think they're all looking at, we're going to merge soon. Let's get some of these really good players out of here.
Right.
Whether it's good physically or good strategically, let's get them out.
Or both.
Exactly.
So what did you think about what Desi said? That he was the most strategic one out there, the one she's most concerned about?
I think that's her experience from her tribe, but she doesn't have much to go on. She hadn't been around any of the other people like Ryan and Chrissy and Allie and the other people that I consider to be very strategic. So that's all she's really seen. I mean, she was looking at Jessica and Cole. So, of course, Joe seems way more strategic.
Joe tells us that he knows that they've been watching him, and he spent 4 days trying to find the clue. So that answered that question. I kept saying, how come we're not seeing Joe find this other idol? How come he didn't just go to the well and dig where he found the other one once he got to that beach? And they've been on him. But he does find the clue, and he knows how to interpret it. Thanks, surprisingly enough, to Cole.
And I liked how he did not give it away at all. He didn't, no reaction. There's no way Devon would have seen any difference in his face, in his body reactions.
He had good cover because they were looking in trees and
perfect.
under rocks and things like that for crabs. And yeah, so it gave him a chance to see it. And he tells us, I'm going to come back and get rid of that clue, and then after that, I'm going to go get the idol.
If he can get away from everybody.
Yep, so they show us that they're asleep there. Night 15, he goes out and he uses his body to measure, to estimate where 4 feet from the well's going to be, and he starts digging.
Yeah, but how does he have enough light to be able to do that at night out in the jungle? How's there enough light for that?
Enough of the moon, the stars,
Maybe,
lots of starlight.
Not if there isn't any. That's
I don't think it's pitch black.
Well, I guess it wasn't since he was. But I thought
didn't have any
that's
trouble
odd.
finding it. Well, we've certainly seen it before and asked that question before. Like
I
how
guess
Ty
they-
was able to splash water on the side of the well at one point to confirm that the
during the
clue
night.
was there. Yeah. But I think if you give yourself, they say, what is it they say when you're going out? Like when the big meteor shower was going, they said give yourself like 30 minutes for your eyes to adjust. So he just waits for late enough at night and then makes like he's got to go off to pee, I guess, or get some water, and goes out to the well, and voila, he's got his second idol. And tells us that come merge time, he's got a plan for getting a third one too.
Well, then he gets it, so that's awesome. Good on you, Joe.
So we got 2 players with idols right now, and it just so happens it's 2 people that squared off from the very beginning.
I don't
You think these are 2 trains that are headed towards each other?
probably, but I don't really like Joe so much, but I do like how he's playing. I do like his game.
Can respect his gameplay even if
I
you don't
have
like
to.
the portion of
Exactly.
his
I agree.
person that we've been able to see.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, I think that's a sign of a fan right there that can see that in another.
Okay, day 16, back over to Yawa, and Cole faints.
Well, even before that, though,
Yeah, he was
he's laying there and he's got some kind of shake, some kind of jitter that's in his
he tries
hand.
to get up.
And for whatever reason, yeah, that prompts him to get up. At which point, this is classic. You get up, your blood pressure drops, and your body does this by design. It goes, something's wrong. I'm going to get you horizontal so I can even this pressure out. And you faint.
Yeah, you've kind of been there.
Definitely have been there, have had that kind of an experience before. And it's especially the case, I'm not saying this has anything to do with him, but if you're in a situation when you've been doing some kind of an endurance event and like your calf muscles are blown out, this is where I've had experience with it, where they don't have a lot more in them energy-wise to fire to keep that blood coming back up your leg. And if you're not walking, this can happen. And I've experienced something similar to what he's describing, right?
Yeah.
When you stop,
Yeah,
and then you try to get up, and you're like, whoa, yeah. And then you notice it on your periphery. It's black. It's closing in. It's like a tunnel. And there's less and less light coming in, and you start headed towards.
Well, luckily they got you a chair when you came across the finish line before you dropped, before your legs gave. Got a chair under
Well,
you
I actually
first.
had the experience with the near fainting after that, after I had rested a bit.
Yes.
I was going to gather up all my stuff from my transition station and realized
you weren't
something wasn't
mentally
right.
functioning. You kept
Well,
going, but you left. You walked. I'm like, I told you, stay right here. I'm going to get the car.
I was a little deficient
And
there.
you were like, you just left. And I'm like, where did he go? You weren't mentally functioning at that point either.
I did wait, and then I thought, you know what? I can't wait anymore. So I took action to get myself
so
over to
you
the
took
medic
off
stand,
walking on your own.
which is actually something good to
across the
do because that'll
parking
help the blood pump back out
Well,
of your
you
leg,
made
so
it
it
over
doesn't.
there, so
Yeah, I did.
that's-
But anyway, the point was that I got a little similar experience in that regard.
Okay, let's move from that.
So Dr. Mike and Jessica jumped right on it. They don't even appear to bring the medics in. They probably did come in just to
I
double
would
check,
think
don't you
they
think?
would have
But
to.
they didn't show us that because Dr. Mike and Jessica are there to help, and Jessica offers to cook him some rice, and she tells us, well, it's food related. I don't think it was food related. I bet you he was not
More
drinking enough
dehydrated,
water.
Yeah.
That's absolutely it.
Yeah.
This idea
I
that
agree.
your body's going to experience catastrophic failure if you skip meals is complete horse
Manure.
horse pucky. Yeah, I can tell you I've gone 7+ days without eating, and I'm not faint worthy. And they are getting a little bit of food in this case, although it's not a lot. Like Jen said when they did the similar meal solution last week with her and her son did that with a small amount of rice and some beans. So I don't think that was necessarily the case. The guy didn't have a lot of body fat on him, but there's still some there.
Yeah, I don't know that Mike even agreed with Jessica about the food, but he didn't argue either. But
No, especially if Cole thinks that's what it is. It's probably, and she may not have. We don't
certainly
know.
made him happy.
Yeah, you can get a big placebo effect boost out of it. If that's what it is in his head, then it's not going to hurt anything. She said, I'll give him my share, so there, have a little extra rice.
But here's the big opening that Ben and Lauren have been looking for.
What did you think about the contrast between Jessica's response and Dr. Mike's response?
Oh, loved it.
Yeah.
Because Jessica, I don't want to play without him, and I thought, ick. And then Mike's like, hey, he's a liability. He's out.
Yeah.
If
We
he
can't
can't
baby
make
him.
it, if he can't make it on this many days, what's he going to be like? We can't carry him.
When we get deep in the game. Yep.
Exactly. He's a liability. So Dr. Mike seems to be ready to jump ship.
He's on board with Ben and Lauren. Yep. And Ben confirms that when he's talking with Dr. Mike,
However,
too.
Dr. Mike could want to get rid of Jessica, too, just because she knows about his idol.
Sure. Yep.
So I think
Keep that
it
thought.
makes them both
Maybe we can
a
circle back to
liability.
that in a little bit here.
Okay. So Ben, I like that Ben got right in there and starts putting that Mike's head, even though I think it was already there. But Ben's getting in there, saying it out loud, and Mike's agreeing with him.
Yep. Cole's a liability. Good deal. Okay,
And-
community challenge.
Cole tells Jessica he's here for her as long as he's, not passed out.
How endearing.
Yeah, I care about you, and I'm here for you.
Community challenge.
Well, here's what we walked into that, and my thought was, will they throw a challenge to get rid of him?
I didn't actually spend any time considering that.
Well, of course
But
they
I like that you
didn't.
threw it out there.
But I wanted to throw it out there as a possibility.
Yeah.
Because it was mentioned before by
Rourke.
that they had considered,
That she had, yeah.
or her tribe, she said. But, okay, anyway.
What did you think about how this challenge worked?
I thought it looked really difficult, but it was, I think it was a good
I think it's a good challenge, yeah.
Because they really had to work together and communicate together to make it work.
So the way it was set up is that you've got a circular base, and then there's a block on top of that, a fixed block, and you've got to stack blocks,
8.
which have the letters on them that's to spell out immunity on top of that.
And
And
each person had 2.
Each person's
Each,
got
so
a
they all had to do it.
right, a couple of letters, and they have a rope that's attached to the circular little plate there that you're going to balance
To
everything on.
stabilize it.
And there's a 5th connection
Oh, the worst.
to the center, to a pole, to a fixed pole.
And here's why you first thought Soko could lose is because Chrissy was so bad on the balance beam last week.
Thought she might have some issues.
We didn't notice that she did, but
Turned out it was Ryan that was way worse than her. Yeah, and there was obviously a trick to this, and the Red Tribe figured it out.
yeah, that was awesome when they just had the person that was walking just don't hold on to the rope
And
at all.
you could see Cole doing that when they were almost done the very first time. So there were some great transitions back and forth with who's in the lead as we saw drops, and then they got right to the last letter, and Cole goofed something, and then everything falls over, and so they've got to start again, and now another tribe's in the lead, and so they're jockeying back and forth with this.
And once again, they sit Lauren out.
Yep, for this part. So they got down to where they were all at 7, but because the Red Tribe had adopted this new strategy with whoever's placing the letter could go completely slack on their rope. So the 3 others maintain tension, and because they maintain tension in the rope, the 4th rope that goes to an anchor set in the ground, they were able to work it out so that each time one of them had to go out, the person going out with the letter and then running back could do so with the rope slack. And they seemed to be doing that even when Cole experienced the problem, that they had figured that out to some degree because he had the rope slack. But,
Well, I think the fact that they were in the lead and they were almost there and then dropped.
And
And
then
so
came
they
back.
were then,
Yeah.
they knew they had to just forget about going slow because the other 2 were neck and neck.
Out of
And if they
desperation,
had
yeah.
any chance at all, they had to really just go for it.
Really good drama, yeah, as blue and yellow were
Yeah.
at 6 and then at 7.
And
And
then-
Red comes back to catch them at 7 and then win.
Ended up winning.
Because they had the better strategy and the other 2 tribes hadn't picked up on what they were doing.
And then Levu came in second, and Soko loses again.
Right, Yellow Tribe headed to Tribal. Allie tells us in a quick confessional after that loss that after that blow up with Ryan, she is very, very nervous.
Yep.
Rightly so.
JP tells us back at Soko, it's Allie. That's it.
Well, first he said Jeff must really like us because we get to spend a lot of time with him. I liked him. I liked his sense of humor on that part. But yeah, then he goes, "Yeah, it's Allie. Not much to think about. There's nothing she can do about it either."
And Ryan just agrees, which is what he does best. He just agrees with whatever people are saying.
And then they cut to Ryan's confessional after that, and he says, "Yeah, it is absolutely dangerous to keep JP at this point."
Yeah, he's just going to be too big of a threat in the merge.
Tells us he needs to make up with Allie.
But though he admits he's literally carried me in the game,
Yeah.
and he had carried their tribe in challenges as well. So
Ryan appears to make good on his word there. He goes and he tells Allie that he's sorry and he should have told her how things were playing out with the previous vote out with Rourke. And Allie tells us, well, I gotta trust him again.
shouldn't have a choice.
At this point, she does not have a choice. Yeah. And I thought this was interesting, and ended up, she said she needed to talk with Chrissy.
Yeah, I kind of like that Ryan just kind of sat back and let her.
That could have been a big mistake on his part. That caught
maybe.
me off guard. And to Allie's credit, she goes to Chrissy and she makes a play for her being the one to ally with Chrissy.
Mm-hmm.
She tells Chrissy that I had misplaced loyalty, and we take that to mean in regards with Ryan, and that's been hurting my game. And she tells Chrissy that I can work with you.
Well, and Chrissy tells us she is
seems to
most
be-
loyal to Ryan, even over JP, and that she and Ryan need to work together to make the decision. So Ryan really has an in with her.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Chrissy's not sure she can trust Allie, so she has a discussion with Ryan. And Ryan tells us the good thing about all this and it's regard to both him and Chrissy, is that both JP and Allie want to work with us. So
Well,
that means
and
they have choices.
He said everyone wants to work with him, and he doesn't know why, because he's a weasel.
Yep.
I liked that he could look at himself.
He works to keep them close and then blindside them.
Well, it seems to be working.
Yeah, it does indeed.
And they had me convinced at this point they were going after JP,
Yeah.
or that they very well could.
That there wasn't anything certain. So yeah, again, I liked the balance of the edit for this episode a lot.
And Jeff starts out tribal council by saying, "The roller coaster continues."
Yeah. He asked what was the scene at camp after the previous tribal council 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
And Ryan tells him, well, yeah, we had to work through some things, but
Yeah.
Ryan and Allie have made up.
She was really angry with me, but Allie says they've swept it all under the rug and moved forward.
Chrissy says that we're starting to look towards the merge, which is now imminent on the horizon.
And Jeff did not disagree.
Jeff asked JP if he was nervous, and JP said, yeah, I am. It's that time in the game when I should be.
Yeah, at least he knows that.
Yep, got to look at what's best to move forward. I understand what everyone needs to consider in playing their game. And Probst doesn't let that go. He says, what did you guys think about that? Because I just asked JP a question, and he said absolutely nothing in response. There was no substance to it. And Allie chimed in and said, yeah, I got no clue what he's thinking. So she just went ahead and kicked him a little.
Yep. And Ryan said, that's scary too, because, they have a lot of questions and JP doesn't answer things.
Yeah. Chrissy said, yep, he plays a quiet game. Been with him from the beginning. It's all quiet.
Well, and I like that JP popped up and said that, well, maybe I should have been a little more socially thoughtful throughout the game, and that, okay, this is a wake-up call for me.
Right. Because Probst referred to him as non-moving, a block of granite. Yeah. And so JP goes, oh, okay. That's
okay.
for me, huh? Right. Okay. And then we get a wind blowing through tribal council there that cracked him up.
Will that help him after the merge?
No. No.
Will we see him at least try to be more social? You don't think so?
No.
Okay.
Well, he's this far into the game, almost halfway in, and is he going to change?
I think it did make him nervous, though, because
I like that he was aware enough to comment on it. Absolutely. So he's not completely clueless.
I think Allie really believed that they were with her, though.
I think that's the case too, given her response. The thing that I liked about that is that he was aware enough to do that, and that he kind of has a sense of where his own boundaries are. So he doesn't try to play above his own game, for sure, JP. I liked what Allie said, too, after that wind blew through and cracked them all up, because it was kind of like foreshadowing, hey, there's a storm coming. And Allie said that she was cold right now as they were sitting there in tribal council in front of the big fire, but she realized that was probably just because she was nervous. And that she's going to have to place her trust in the votes and the results there.
And just see where it goes. And Chrissy said, all 4 of them really want it badly. So I like that.
What did you think about Chrissy? How did Chrissy come across this time versus last time at Tribal Council?
Oh, much better, I think. Mm-hmm. Much better.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, more balanced with what we were given, at least. It was a much more positive view of how she could handle herself. I think part of that is because she was a little more confident in the outcome, having the trust tested last time and proven in her favor. So. And
then JP, they show us his vote for Allie, and he said something like, this is my game and you have your game, and we're each playing our game. My
you
vote's
do me,
for you.
You do you, and I'll do me.
Yeah, whatever it was, he said. And of course, she returns the favor and votes for him.
Yep. Okay, so it comes down to 3 votes for Allie, 1 for JP. Allie's out, and she is shocked. So, yep.
And so
you're kidding me, she says.
Her parting comment to them was, well, good luck on beating him.
Yeah, right. She's talking to Chrissy and JP.
No, was she?
Yep.
Or was she talking to Ryan and Chrissy? Good luck on beating JP.
She's talking to Chrissy and JP.
Well, I thought that at first, and then I thought that doesn't necessarily mean that is what she was saying, because they were supposed to, they were talking about not being able to beat JP after the merge, and she said,
Well, that's what
well,
you,
good luck with
you
that.
say, but history says there's really good results
Well,
with getting out
think
big physical threats.
That's worth a question tomorrow. What
okay,
did
so
she
we can
mean?
settle between us.
Yes.
Right. Good point.
Why did Jeff say you're out of members?
Well, they're down to 3.
No, but they're not
You're
out
almost
yet,
out of tribe
Jeff.
members, and you're clearly counting on the
Clearly
merge. So
counting
good
on
luck
the
with that.
merge.
Yeah. Okay. So what are your thoughts on the overall
I
episode
loved it.
and
I
the result?
thought it was great, and I got a point.
Yes.
So I'm
yes.
so I
That
did
makes
say
you-
I'm sorry that you lost
makes you
your
happier.
USB.
Well, like we talked about in the listener feedback show, this was pivotal for Allie. This was really going to be it, and so I knew that this was a possibility, but I wasn't committed to saying that she was going to go.
I would not expect you to vote for her.
Right. Yeah, there wasn't any reason for me to be convinced. I thought that there was still a chance, and I saw her put up a good fight, what looked like a good fight, and make a case and actually try to pivot away.
And I think she's a good player and may come back again someday.
I think she's a really good player. Yeah. So just wasn't in her favor this time, and I enjoyed watching her up to this point. Yeah.
Next on Survivor, the bomb is dropped.
Merge time. Episode 7 brings us the merge.
You are merged. There's a race to gather the troops.
Yeah, we see them say their targets in sight,
Joe
and there are lots of
tells them.
discussions happening.
Joe tells Cole he's going to flip on y'all. I think he's talking about Mike.
Yeah, there's certainly historical reason to think that's the case.
Yep.
What's interesting, though, is that both Joe and Mike have idols. So,
And Joe wanted Mike out originally.
yep.
Though you'd
From
think
the
they'd
get-go.
target somebody other than...
And Joe was
He
right.
understood.
Dr. Mike does have an idol. But
Yep.
so does Joe. And Jessica knows Mike has one, but I don't think anybody knows Joe has one. Do you think Joe will tell Cole again? I actually think he will.
Oh, that would be too dumb. If he tells Cole he deserves whatever he gets.
But do you know what that could end up doing? Is that could put Jessica in a position, because I think Cole turned around and tell Jessica again. That'll put her in a
Yep.
position to know about the 2 idols.
Yep.
So it could put her in this huge position. She could finally have the secret knowledge that she wanted to give her power to help control an outcome in the game.
And then they show Mike talking to Lauren saying she's a huge threat. I think he's talking about Jessica. I think he wants to target her because, and this may be before the merge, I don't know.
Right.
But I think he's talking to Lauren because he's thinking of getting rid of Jessica because she's the only one that knows he has an idol.
Could be,
So if they blindsided her,
right?
and then he's clear, nobody knows.
This could be Jessica's big move, or it could be the end of her game. Normally, you see him start taking out the big physical threats, and at this point, you'd be doing Cole a favor. He's likely to quit before he gets voted out, and you certainly don't want big physical threats, although he wasn't even with JP when they were both pulling at the front of the boats, pulling themselves out for the one challenge there, for
Well-
the reward challenge. He couldn't match JP's strength, it didn't seem like.
And Allie tells us she let Ryan ruin her game, and Chrissy is a liar of all.
Actually, she says, a twerp and a liar got me.
Twerp and a liar.
I liked that. Okay, she was bitter, but it was funny. So I wish she hadn't been bitter, but that was funny.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I enjoyed the episode. So
even
I like
losing
the-
your USB.
Yeah, you know, if you're gonna end up losing it, lose it before the merge.
That was my thought. Well, at least you lost her before the merge.
Yeah, so my big question is who from there, right? For all of us who've lost our USBs at this point, who's left? Are you gonna pick Joe? Been playing a really good game. Maybe the little weasel Ryan. You want to still go that way because he's got some good gameplay
I do. I'm not,
under his
I'm
belt.
Not dropping
You're not
him.
switching.
I know Paul's down
You
on him,
could-
but
you could-
I'm not going to drop him.
You could pivot to Chrissy. I can't see Ashley really being in it. Desi's a potential contender. Devon's a follower. Certainly Joe, someone worth considering, even though he's our villain for the season. Dr. Mike, certainly cheering for another underdog. There's an underdog that's got an idol, so he's got some power. Ryan hadn't worked it out so that he's tapped that experience in the
True.
game yet.
Yep.
And then you got a dark horse there with Ben. Certainly Ben has some potential to come from behind and win. We'll have a much better idea once the alliances start to firm up after the merge.
Yeah,
See
because
how
you know,
that
I
settles out.
fully expect Devon and Ryan to reconnect.
Uh-huh.
But what about Lauren? Because she's the only other member from the
Sure.
original Red Tribe.
She'll pick wherever the biggest number is. If that's Ben back to Chrissy and JP and Ashley and someone else, but yeah.
As long as it ain't me.
Right.
Well, but, you know, those people are going to have a better shot now, I think. They're going to become on the back burner because they're not the big threats. They're going to go after the physical threats and then the strategic threats, and those people that are kind of laying low and kick back there
Maybe.
are going to.
So here's another way you can look at it. Look at the reunion of the original healers. So you got Desi, Joe, Mike, Jessica, Cole, and they pull a couple, and boom, there's a majority, right? Mm-hmm. So that could give Joe and Cole some breathing room.
I don't know. I'm not sure that Mike won't want to stay with Ben and Lauren, and then maybe Ben, bring in Chrissy, and
JP.
it would be cool if he brought in Chrissy and Ryan came into the group because that's her closest ally. Anyway, that'll be interesting to see next week.
We're certainly looking forward to hearing what you thought about the episode and how you think the power dynamic's going to play out. How about a JSFL update?
DSR is still in first place with 29 points. Even though, again, he didn't get the vote out, but he's still got enough points
he's getting to ride that big buffer that he got
That's
from
right.
the beginning of the game, but it's slowly being eroded.
Congratulations.
Yep.
Still holding your lead. There's 23 people who lost their USB,
Me included.
58 people who lost a safe point, and 42 people who earned a vote-off point.
All right.
The challengers, with 27 points, Nina is still in first place. With 26, Jody, Parker, and Rick. 25, Brandon and Kitty Cat. 24, Cold Mike and Jeremiah. 23, Drew, Jonathan, and Stacy. And with 22, Iron Dave and James and Shannon.
All right. So we also are in a situation where, let's see, what are we merging at? We're merging at 12?
12.
Yeah. So we're very likely to end up with first on jury. So your vote out choice could get you an extra point next week.
Possibly.
Yep. Good deal. Well, we're certainly looking forward to hearing what you thought about the episode and how you think the power dynamics are going to form up after the merge.
Yep, that could be a big week.
Well, it's guaranteed to be a big week, absolutely, and there's a lot to consider with how the battle lines could end up being drawn here and who ends up being a target.
Oh, my goodness, I can tell.
And some excitement.
I'm just going to be going nuts.
Why? You said you're not going to change your USB.
I'm not, but remember how much I struggled over who to put safe this week?
Yeah, certainly makes that
I
challenging
decided
in the
on my
merge
vote off.
episode.
I just couldn't decide who's safe. And I'm kind of trying not to use up the ones I think will go longer.
Well, I made a strategic choice in how I played it. I looked for the big targets, the big physical targets, to be targeted at the merge, so I went ahead and had several of them safe this week.
See, I
and that
still
worked
haven't
out.
gotten any points off of Lauren. I've been afraid from the beginning, I think, to put her as safe.
Oh, no, I've gotten points off of her. I didn't get any points off Allie because I had her as my USB and I was holding her back. But I got
at least one off of her.
I've got safe points off everybody else for sure.
Yeah,
Quite a few on some of them.
Yeah, me too. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to run out before the end.
Ah, okay.
That's why they start getting more important after the merge.
Yep.
Is
for sure.
how to spin those safe picks.
Good deal. Okay, so listener, we got the interview with Allie tomorrow, and then the listener feedback show where we turn the show over to you. That happens on Saturday. We need your feedback in by noon Pacific time. You got the email, Joanne and Stacy Show at gmail.com, so you can write it up. Either Joanne or I will read it into the show on your behalf. You can call the voicemail line, 206-350-1547. There's toll-free number there too in case you need it, 844-643-8737. And you always have the choice of recording on your own, record on your smartphone, or however you want to record, and then send it as an email attachment to us. And then we get to, either with a voicemail or with that option, we get to hear your thoughts in your voice, which is always special too. Anything else you can think of?
Nope. Enjoyed it, as always.
Yeah, me too. Have a good one.